Oi boys, welcome to another video on the channel. We are back to make some tips and predictions for round 17. But before we do, let's look back at the week that was and see how we did. So in terms of results, we went 3 from 5. Pretty bad honestly. We kind of stuck our necks out for the Seagulls. They were horrendous. Para were just too good. As for the Knights, they kind of caked that game against the Roosters, who were awful. And for the bakery, as you can see, we got a fat donut. None of our boys collecting meat pies. In terms of the ladder, sitting on top at the moment are the Brisbane Broncos, followed by the Panthers. The Broncos with the 2-point lead on 24. Joining the Panthers on 22 are the Storm at 3rd, and to round off the 4 we have the Bunnies on 20. Bottom half of the 8 we got the Sharks on 20, the Warriors on 20, the Raiders still on 20, and Para in the 8 on 18 points. It's so tight, there's 3 other teams on 18 points, the Titans, Dolphins and the Roosters. But yeah, that's the top 8, let's go ahead and make some predictions. Alright, the first game of the week, the only game for Friday night, we have the St. George Illawarra Dragons hosting the New Zealand Warriors. In terms of ins and outs, as we all know, Josh Kerr, the lone outs for the Dragons, he's gone over to the Dolphins. They have a few boys returning though in Jack Bird, Jack DeBellin, and I believe Toby Couchman. No, Toby Couchman isn't in the 17. Bird, however, slides into the back row, and DeBellin to lock for the Warriors. So Ali Leatawa was meant to make his return back to the squad, but I believe he's injured now. Rocky Berry's in at center. They'll also be without Mitch Barnett, which is a massive loss. A few other players making their return, Dylan Walker back onto the bench, and actually that's about it. Bailey Sirenen comes onto the bench for Mitch Barnett. As for my pick, I'm going to take the Warriors in this, although St. George do lift at home. I'm a firm believer in the Warriors' new system and their new style of play. It's eerily similar to the Penrith Panthers, and there's no surprises there with their new assistant coach. With their new head coach, former assistant, they've got the Warriors looking like genuine threats. I'm not going to say premiership threat, but to the top 8 at least. As for both teams' records heading in, the Warriors are coming off back-to-back wins against the Dolphins and that hiding against the Raiders, spoiling Croker's milestone. And for the Dragons, they just beat the Bunnies. I do think the Dragons will put up a fight. Their pack, if they're switched on, can mix it with the best of them. And they've still got Bud Sullivan starting in the 6th. Amone coming off the bench. Ben Hunt still named as well. This should be a banger, but like I said, I want to take the away team to grind out another win on the road. Give me the Warriors 1-12. Second game of the week, we have the first for 3 on Saturday. We have the Dolphins hosting the Parramatta Eels at Sunshine Coast Stadium. A home game for the Finns. Let's take a look at these ins and outs for the Finns. They'll be without Brenko Lee, Desi Neal. It looks like they have a debutant on the wing, Braden McGrady, and Valence Tafare back in the centers. They also welcome back Felice Galfusi. He joins the second row, and Josh Kerr is named on the bench. So from the Dragons straight into the 17 for the Finns. Love to see that. I actually really rate Josh Kerr under proper guidance from Wayne Bennett. We'll most likely see him performing to his full potential. As for the Parramatta Eels, they will be welcoming back their origin players in Paulo and Moses. They also welcome back Sean Lane and Wanga Blake, both in reserves. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. As for my pick, this is their first meeting. The Parramatta Eels, looking at the form guide, they're currently on a 4-game winning streak. And for the Dolphins, they're coming into this game riding back-to-back hidings, falling to the Warriors 30 points to 8 and the Seagulls 58 to 18. Is it time for a bounce back? I think so. They are coming off a bye. Parramatta, they'll pretty much be at full strength minus no Josh Hodgson, but Brendan Hands has been pretty handy, no pun intended. I'm interested to see if Sean O'Sullivan will jump into the 7 for Isaiah Gato. Cody Nikorima's been pretty good since debuting for the Dolphins, so I can't see them replacing him unless O'Sullivan stays in reserves and warms up in Q Cup or something. But yeah, looking at this Eel side, it makes me a little nervous, but we'll back the dog in this and we'll go 1-12. Second game for Saturday, we have a rematch between the Penrith Panthers and the Newcastle Knights. A home game for the Panthers. They'll be bringing back all their origin players, as well as Moses Leota, so full strength right there. And for the Knights, they welcome back Mazu, Daniel Saifiti, and Tice Frizzell. I know last time they played, it was a pretty close contest. It was also one of the worst performances from the Panthers. I can't see them performing like that again against the Newcastle Knights. Back at home as well, I think the Knights will be in for a long night. I was pretty bullish on the Knights, especially heading into that game last week against the Roosters, but they looked bloody awful. Don't get me wrong, they've had some mad performers individually like KP, Dom Young, their whole back 5 pretty much, but their halves again are letting them down. If they won in convincing fashion last week, I probably would have taken them this week, but yeah, nah. Give me the Panthers. Give me 1-12. The headliner for Saturday, we have the Melbourne Storm hosting the Manly Warringah Seagulls. All Origin players from both sides looking to back up. This game for me pretty cut and dry. Melbourne and Melbourne. That seems like the play here. The Seagulls have been pretty bad. I thought last week would see their forward pack step up, but boy was I wrong. Without Jake Trbojevic, their middle is so soft. They're going to have a hard time trying to lock down these players like Christian Welsh, Josh King and Asafa Solomona, who's back on the edge, so good luck to Manly's left. But yeah, like I said, cut and dry, full strength Melbourne, in Melbourne, give me the Storm, 13+. And to close out the round, the final day of matches, a triple header. The first, a banger between the Broncos and the Titans at Suncorp Stadium. This being played at 2 PM. So like the last match, both teams welcoming back all their Origin players. Take that with a grain of salt, of course. And for the rest of the teams, because you never know what would happen on Origin nights, I'm skimming through for changes where these ins and outs are placed. And they both look unchanged pretty much. Still on the bench, they got Tyson Smoothie for the Broncos. With Capewell out, Brendan Piakura gets another run in the back row. He's been a gun since playing there these last few weeks. And for the Titans, big danger signs with Sam Verrills and AJ Brimson back. I mean, the attack without those boys was pretty good, so you can imagine how better it's gotten with them back. As for my pick, Broncos at Suncorp, not quite cut and dry because the Titans do tend to lift for these games against the Broncos. With that being said, I'm going to stick with the home side, and after a bit of a shaky game against the Knights, I'm going to back them in to get a more polished performance. Last time these two met, it was 43 points to 26, and I think for the most part it will be close, but they will run away with it. So give me the Broncos, 13+. The 4 PM game for Sunday, we have the Rabbitohs hosting the North Queensland Cowboys at Accor Stadium. Starting with the home side, the ins and outs, they welcome back Cameron Murray, Cody Walker, and Tom Burgess. Still no Latrell Mitchell, so Tom Burgess joins the bench along with David Moale. Cam Murray back into lock, Cody Walker back into 5'8". And for the Cowboys, they welcome back Nanai, Taulangi, Robson, Cotter, and Val Holmes. Plenty of outs. After scraping by against the Panthers last week, do I think they can pull off another upset against the Bunnies here? I don't know, I'm low-key still off the Cows, even though I tipped them last week to get the win. Let's just say the win, I wasn't too convincing, not enough to make me tip them again this week. The players I thought that would control the game for them, Townsend in particular, had a pretty bad game, didn't though. If he doesn't play, they don't win. That's pretty much been the story for the Cows this year, as they've continued to look, lethargic after a standout year last year. But yeah, you got injury clouds with Cameron Murray and Cody Walker. I'm hoping Murray can get through State of Origin okay, because they're going to need him to put away the Cows. We're taking the Bunnies, 1-12. And for the final match of the round, we have the Sydney Roosters hosting the Canberra Raiders. Ins and outs, there's no outs for either team, but for the Roosters, James Tedesco will be back, Lindsay Collins will be back, and also Victor Radley. And for the Raiders, it looks like the same side, hasn't changed from the team that fumbled their win for Croker a couple weeks ago. But yeah, my pick for this game, let's first take a look at their form heading into this. So the Roosters, currently 2 from their last 5, the Raiders, 3 from their last 5. Their wins, they were barely scraping by. Same goes for the Roosters. An interesting matchup here. The Roosters, their attack has been dog water. We've been saying it's all season long. I do like how they're sticking with Sandon Smith in the halves and Joey Manu back into the centers where he belongs. If that came across as being harsh, I swear I didn't mean to be. I just don't think he's a half. You could pass for a fullback though, I'll say that. This side's pretty much looking like the Roosters of old with Victor Radley in the 13, Tupouniua back in the back row. Turpin been a bit of a shining light for them. And yeah, my pick for this game, I want to take the Roosters at home here. Another pick I'm not too confident in, you know, the Raiders could easily grind out a victory here, as they've done in the past, especially against this super beatable Roosters pack. But we'll be counting on the Roosters superstars to get us across the line in this. So give me the Roosters, give me 1-12. So in summary, for round 17, we are taking the Warriors 1-12, the Finns 1-12, the Panthers 1-12, the Storm 13+, the Broncos 13+, the Rabbitohs 1-12, and the Roosters 1-12. As per, we'll have a list of Oddski's Bakery. Hopefully we get at least one try scorer this week. And yeah, that's about it from me. If you want to share your picks, let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you later.